Please.
The question is about the sister, that God let his son to be crucified. When God saved Prophet Muhammad from death, from Moses and Noah, peace be upon them, from the floods and all those things, how did God let his son to die on the cross? That is one question. And the second question is, Jesus himself said in the New Testament, if you do something wrong, it is a sin. And don't think that if you call me Lord, it is guaranteed that you will enter in the paradise. I mean, he made it clear about the salvation and the sins. So I'm confused about that.
Actually, before I go to that part, the same sister asked me the question that, I answered this question that because all of us are sinful. So this is a kind of portrayal that was a Christian perspective. But the follow-up question was that these stories could be very dangerous for you as well as for everybody else. Like David is holy. I mean, God chose David to build his temple. God made Solomon to be the king. David is king. And David rapes, murders, does all of, and the only punishment God does it, just kills his innocent son. Does not punish David, does not punish his son Solomon, but makes them, kings. And even Jesus called himself the son of David. He's proud to be from the lineage. So if somebody can do all of this horrible stuff and can be honored by God in this life and the life to come, then what is, I can think, everybody else I can do the same thing and maybe forgive them. So that was the question which she was insisting upon.
And a good insistence. I mean, the question needs to be answered.
So is the condemnation in the Bible, or is it through interpretation that people understand that these are immoral things? That when you teach them, that's where the interpretation is coming in, or is the scripture also clear that these acts were not good and you should not do them?
Specifically with regard to David, I think scripture is clear because the prophet Nathan intervenes with a wonderful parable about the, at least in the book of Samuel, Nathan intervenes with this parable about a man who had a single sheep. And you know the parable. And he uses that and says, that man is you, to David. So David is condemned even within the context of Scripture for his actions. He admits his guilt, he confesses, and God does not punish him, but does take the life of his innocent son.
I have a question. I'm slightly going to change this. You heard about Bible. I know you are the scholar of Bible, and I'm hoping that you must have studied Quran too. With Islam being in the news these days, 24 hours, 7 days a week, and what is the concept of Quran? And just like we have so many comments about Bible and all that, what do the Christians talk about Quran in the churches, and what are the priests? I'm sure we all are there to see the weaknesses in other people's religions. So what do you see in the Quran, and what do you talk about it? And we have got some scholars here, maybe we can clarify some of those, just like you are clarifying.
I'm probably in the minority, but I see an awful lot of commonality between the Quran and the Bible. Not just in the names, but some fundamental values. The Quran, as I have studied it, is obviously in a different format, just given the structure, the organization from longest to shortest, and the contents of the various surah, and just trying to keep straight in my mind, the importance of knowing when, the context, the timing during the 23 years, whether they are Meccan or Medinan surah, just trying to keep straight in my own mind what I'm reading when I read the Quran. Having said that, I do see some powerfully, beautifully strong connectors between Scripture as the Bible and Scripture as the Holy Quran. I have from the second Quran 2 verses that I pray regularly as part of when Catholic clergy are expected to read what we call the Divine Office, the Liturgy of the Hours, which in many ways is somewhat similar to Muslim prayer. There's morning prayer, there's evening prayer, there's night prayer, there's midday. You know, we have those prayers. And I incorporate into that this section from verses 285, 286 of chapter 2, the second surah of the Quran. And I've done that for the last 3 or 4 years. And I find it a very important part of my life. I try to begin my prayer with the Fatiha, the first surah. And it just makes sense. So not many Catholic priests are going to do that, I suspect, because not many of them have been exposed to the Holy Quran. My hope, my wish would be that many more would. I think there is a richness, a beauty, not just to the Holy Quran, but to Islam as a religion that's as large as, if not larger than, Christianity in the world. That we've got to come to